Are we ready, Nancy?
I'm just confirming that we are live here.
And
Yes, just give us a moment, just to make sure we're broadcasting on YouTube. All right. Good morning, Mayor Sohi. We've confirmed that we are broadcasting, which is good. So before we begin, I will go over the emergency response plan for this room. In an emergency, everyone must evacuate through the nearest safe exit. Those seated in the gallery will take direction from security, and council will take direction from the meeting clerk to evacuate the room. After evacuating the building or the room, please proceed to a stairwell, take the stairs to ground level, and evacuate the building through the doors marked emergency exit and go to the muster point. Do not take an elevator or walk through the city room. Anyone with limited mobility should identify themselves to security or the meeting clerk during an evacuation, and please speak with security or the meeting clerk if you require first aid. Thank you.
good morning, everyone. I would like to call this meeting to order. At this time, I would like to acknowledge that we meet on the traditional land of Treaty 6 territory and the Métis homeland, and acknowledge the diverse indigenous peoples whose ancestors' footsteps have marked this territory for centuries, such as Cree, Dene, Saulteaux, Blackfoot, and Gorasu, as well as Métis and Inuit, now settlers from around the world. I will do a roll call of council colleagues. Councillor Wright.
Good morning.
Councillor Knack.
Good morning.
Councillor Principe.
Good morning.
Councillor Stevenson.
Good morning.
Councillor Paquette.
Good morning.
Councillor Tang.
Good morning.
Councillor Hamilton.
Good morning.
Councillor Rutherford.
Good morning.
Councillor Salvador.
Good morning.
Councillor Cartmel.
Good morning.
Councillor Rice.
Good morning.
Councillor Jans.
Good morning.
Okay. Councillor Hamilton, can you move the adoption of the agenda, please?
Yes, I'll move adoption of the Emergency Advisory Committee meeting agenda.
Thank you so much. I need a seconder.
Use committee. Committee, we don't need a second.
Of course. Thank you, Councillor Rice.
You're
Thank you for
welcome,
flagging
Mayor
that.
Sohi.
Feel like the entire council is here. It's feel like a council meeting. Okay, cool. We don't need a seconder. Okay, please vote.
Yes.
Thank you, Councillor Rutherford.
Yes, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Councillor Hamilton.
I'm a yes.
Thank you, Councillor Wright.
Yes.
Thank you, Councillor Jans. Just waiting for one vote. We have all the votes.
Display the votes, please. That is carried. Councillor Knack, you want to move the minutes?
Certainly do, yes. I'd like to move the minutes from the October 15th, 2024 Emergency Advisory Committee meeting.
Any errors or omissions? Seeing none, please vote.
Yes.
Thank you, Councillor Rutherford. We have all the votes.
Display the votes, please. That is carried. Any protocol items? I have a quick one. Our city manager, Eddie Robar, had just advised me now that one of our valued employees, Mark Beer, is in the room, and Mark is just came back from participating in Invictus games in Whistler, and is in he has won a silver medal in rowing and a bronze in downhill skiing, and on top of that, he also did an interview with Prince Harry. That's pretty remarkable, Mark. Congratulations. How was it? You want to share some stories? Putting you on the spot. How was meeting with Prince Harry?
Yeah, it was a very memorable experience, and I think the best part about it was I got to have my family there with me. So my wife and 2 kids were there throughout, and my parents came out from Ontario as well. So they were there to be able to share in the experience with me, and I always it was very memorable. Something I'll have forever, and I'm also grateful for all the support that the city provided on the road leading up to the Invictus Games, to be able to go to the training camps, and all the support that I received from my coworkers. It's been fantastic.
Cool. We are so proud of you, and thank you so much for shining Edmonton's name and putting us on the map. And thank you so much for your dedication and commitment. Once again, congratulations. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, select items for debate. There's only one item to be selected. Vice Chair, you want to select that?
Be sure.
Thank
Select
you.
3.1.
Okay, 3-1. Okay. All right. That is nothing to vote on. Request to speak, none. Requests for specific time on agenda, none. Public reports, 3.1, Emergency Management Program Annual Report. We'll go to administration for a presentation.
Thank you. Just put it up. All right. So I'm here today not as your city manager, but as the City of Edmonton's Director of Emergency Management. In this role, I lead the Emergency Management Agency. Many of the agency colleagues, including Fire Chief David Lazenby and Deputy Fire Chief Graham McAllister, are here today. As City Manager, I've talked with you about our focus on Edmonton's changing conditions. With the population that is increasing in size and diversity, our emergency management program is evolving to understand meet the needs of Edmontonians. We also have a changing climate where larger scale wildfire and extreme temperatures are our new normal. And this is what we know. By design, an emergency management program must be flexible and scalable to lead the corporation and the community through unprecedented situations. The 2024 activations demonstrate that this organization pulls together to do what needs to be done for our community to survive and, in the case of the Oilers playoffs, thrive. Although the program is stewarded corporately, many services across the organization contribute to prevention, mitigation, preparedness, and response. From the teams that advance community capacity through granting mechanisms to the inspection teams that monitor our infrastructure, everyone works together to reduce the vulnerabilities to advance our resilience. To profile a small section of the city's integrated emergency management activities, the agency is joined today by Rain Tanowski, Assistant Deputy Chief of Emergency Management, Caitlin Zarabeski, the Acting Branch Manager of Parks and Road Services, Zara Zaw, Chris Anderchuk, and Russell Loga from Services, Innovation, and Performance, Kent Snyder from Planning and Environmental Services, and Harm Rai from Financial Services. Depending on how the questions go, we also have additional staff dialed in to answer what we can in the moment. And if there's any technical questions we can't answer, we'll follow up via memo. With that, I'll hand it over to Jennifer Flaman, the agency member and Deputy City Manager of Community Services.
Next slide. Thank you. Our objective today is to provide an update on the activities of the city's emergency management program and seek approval of the 2025 Municipal Emergency Plan. This includes a review of the program governance, highlights from 2024, focus areas for 2025, and finally, a request for you to approve the Municipal Emergency Plan. Next slide. Before we go any further, I want to briefly remind you of the key components of our city's emergency management program and the documents that guide it. Firstly, we have 3 main groups that are crucial to our emergency management efforts. Council, as the Emergency Advisory Committee, which approves the city's municipal emergency plan, declares, renews, or terminates a state of local emergency, or SOL, and approves the borrowing of money when needed for emergency operations. The executive leadership team, with the Fire Chief and Deputy Fire Chief of Community Safety and Risk, are the Emergency Management Agency, which provides strategic oversight and policy direction for emergency management. Third, the Office of Emergency Management implements emergency plans and coordinates response efforts. The office is situated within Edmonton Fire Rescue Services and acts as a central hub for emergency management activities. It focuses on the day-to-day operations and ensures that resources and information flow smoothly. In addition to these governance groups, there are 4 documents that govern our emergency management framework. The Provincial Emergency Management Act, which outlines the responsibilities and powers related to emergency management at the provincial level. The Local Authority Emergency Management Regulation, which provides guidelines specific to local authorities, helping us tailor our emergency response to our community's needs. The city's Municipal Emergency Plan, that details the city's specific emergency procedures, resources, and contacts. Finally, the Emergency Management Bylaw is the legal framework for emergency management within the city, including the roles and responsibilities of various people and groups. Together, these groups and documents ensure that the city is well prepared to effectively handle emergencies. Each group has a distinct role, from strategic oversight to operational management, and our governing documents provide the legal and procedural foundation needed to support our efforts. With that, I will turn this presentation over to Chief Lazenby to introduce his team and share information on the past year and the plans for the year ahead.
Next slide, please. 2024 was another busy year for emergency management activities. We continue to see an increasing trend of emergency operations centre activations and spent significant time and resources fulfilling provincial requests for assistance. We also introduced new programs and approaches that reflect our commitment to continuous improvement and excellence. Before discussing our highlights, I want to take this opportunity to thank, amongst other things, city staff who stepped up to support more than 4,700 evacuees at our reception centres this past year, and those who stepped in to fill any staffing gaps in home departments as a result. Those who worked in our EOC for numerous civic and special events and were ready to respond should the need arise. Our first responders who continue responding to complex emergencies day and night, and Council for its ongoing support of emergency management. Our staff have done outstanding work this year managing various situations, including those that require them to work into the evenings, weekends, and sometimes through the night to support Edmontonians and outside our community every time our neighbours and our province ask for our support. I'd like to invite Chief Tanowski to share highlights from 2024.
Thank you, Chief. Next slide, please. The emergency management team offered 12 incident command system courses to train internal staff and partner agencies in the emergency management system. These courses include participants from different agencies such as the Edmonton Police Service, Edmonton Fire Rescue Services, Alberta Health Services, and other administration members, and external partners collaborating during exercises and emergencies. We hosted Get Ready in the Park in support of the Emergency Preparedness Week, which is where more than 5,000 Edmontonians attended to learn more about preparedness through interactive and educational displays and interactions, including apparatus tours. We were supported by 65 partner agencies. We look forward to partnering with these once again in the year ahead. We launched a public education campaign to help Edmontonians learn what they can do at home and in their community to prevent fires. The Fire Smart program was soft launched in 2024 to give people the tools to reduce wildfire risks to their homes, neighborhoods, critical infrastructure, and vital natural resources. This shared responsibility among individuals, communities, governments, and private sector organizations. We updated our robust crisis communication plan in support of our municipal emergency plan. Next slide, please. In 2024, we continue to see an increase in emergency responses. The city regularly activates its EOC and collaborates with various partners for reoccurring civic events and other events expected to attract large crowds. This enables groups like the Edmonton Fire Rescue Services, the Edmonton Police Service, Alberta Health Services, Edmonton Transit, and others to respond quickly in an emergency. The city experienced 28 activations for a total of 183 days For nearly 50 days, we had 2 simultaneous activations. And for 2 days, we had 3 simultaneous activations. When asked by the Government of Alberta or another municipality, the city supports its neighbors during wildfire season. It is a point of pride and receives a large amount of public attention. In addition to the provincially requested support, the Emergency Management Program supported our community in times of need and in times of celebration. We activated the EOC during an extended Oiler playoff run and during civic events like Canada's Day and New Year's Eve. Next slide, please. Another highlight for 2024 was the work of ESERT, our Emergency Support Response Team, which helps people who are displaced during emergencies or disasters by meeting immediate needs like shelter, food, and clothing. Last year, ESERT responded to 62 calls for service and helped nearly 6,200 people who were displaced during emergencies like gas leaks, house fires, or wildfires. Of those we helped, more than 5,300 received additional support like temporary accommodations. Many of those we supported were as a result of wildfire evacuations. As a major municipality, the City of Edmonton is often called upon by the Alberta Emergency Management Agency to support people evacuating their communities due to wildfires, floods, or other emergencies. ESERT operated reception centers for evacuees from the regional municipality of Wood Buffalo, supporting more than 4,700 evacuees. Also, in 2024, ESERT had an evacuation center established in Kennedale while the facility was in operational transition, which we used as our reception center for both wildfire evacuation, both of our wildfire evacuations we supported. This facility meted the needs of our team and evacuees while reducing operating pressure on both the Expo Center and the city recreation facilities. In 2024, we contracted the Canadian Red Cross to help with various needs of those displaced during emergencies. Of the 6,200 people that ESERT helped last year, 86% of them needed additional support like accommodations. We were able to meet these needs with the help of the Red Cross, placing them in temporary accommodations and meeting other needs as required. Now with that, I'll pass the microphone over to Deputy Chief Graham McAllister to talk about our plans for 2025.
Thank you, Chief Sinowski. Next slide, please. I'll be focusing on 2025. Next slide, please. So our emergency management program continues to deliver positive results, but we know as we continue to face risks such as increased climate-related risks, we're also experiencing more frequent activations. We continue our proactive work now so that we're well suited to respond to incidents as they occur in the future. In addition to emergency activations, the Office of Emergency Management is building capacity through training and continually improving the emergency management program so that it remains strong and able to meet the needs of a growing Edmonton. Similar to 2024, the city expects to continue experiencing extreme weather risks. This includes cold weather risks to vulnerable populations and critical infrastructure, and hot, dry weather risks which increase the probability of wildfire. We continue to monitor risks and enhance our preparedness. In 2025, we remain committed to supporting other municipalities experiencing evacuations due to wildfires or other emergencies when asked to do so by the Government of Alberta. In 2025, we're also focused on developing a long-term recovery plan to address the social, economic, and environmental impacts of emergencies, and developing strategies for rebuilding infrastructure, supporting businesses, and assisting individuals and families. We'll continue offering incident command system training to build capacity, strengthen our response, and collaborate with partner agencies. We have 2 tabletop exercises for wildfire scheduled for March, and a tabletop exercise working with CN Rail for April. And we're looking forward to a full-scale exercise in the fall with a number of different emergency responder partners and agencies. This provides an opportunity for staff to gain hands-on experience and familiarity with emergency management in an ELC environment. To highlight the collaboration that's ongoing, I'm going to pass it over to Acting Branch Manager Caitlin Zarabescu, who will discuss wildfire.
Thank you so much. Wildland urban interface zones include a mix of housing and vegetation. This creates a complex environment while wildfires can easily ignite and spread. The proximity of homes to flammable vegetation, such as trees, shrub, grasses, increases the vulnerability of those areas to wildfire damage. Next slide, please. Thank you. Additionally, factors such as topography, weather patterns, encampments, and the availability of firefighting resources can further influence the wildfire risk in wildland urban interface zones. Edmonton's River Valley and surrounding neighborhoods exemplify a wildfire urban interface. As an integrated team, we are approaching fire risk in the wildland urban interface areas using the approach shown on the screen. Now I'll turn it over to Kent Snyder, Branch Manager in UP.
While the operational teams act on the real risk for this year, we are developing a wildfire risk strategy to keep our community safe into the future. Our strategy will provide a thorough, coordinated approach to managing wildfire risk over the long term for Edmonton. The strategy will align with the city's existing use of fire-smart best practices and address increasing wildfire risks due to climate change. Our approach will complement a similar initiative that is occurring at the provincial level. Furthermore, the zoning bylaw team is currently undertaking background research and a jurisdictional scan for Action 6 of the Climate Resilience Planning and Development Action Plan to introduce new regulations for wildfire risk areas in the zoning bylaw. This project will include identifying options for land use regulations and stakeholder engagement. The intention is that the wildfire risk strategy will be completed by Q1 2026. I'll turn the presentation back to Caitlin.
In 2024, we had a dedicated wildfire technician who was hired to mitigate wildfire risk. We'll see that again in 2025, who will be focusing on higher risk areas through various vegetation management activities. This technician's work may include reducing fuel loads, which are dead or down woody debris, educating operating teams on preventative practices and providing recommendations for planting of more fire-resistant trees and shrub species. This work will be informed by vegetation hazard assessments and EmberWise, which is a made in-house artificial intelligence tool that predicts fire risk by blending weather, vegetation, field data with public safety demand, with the goal to gain a more comprehensive local understanding of wildfire risk and operationalizing those insights accordingly. In collaboration with Alberta Wildfire, administration completed a tactical exercise to mimic the operationalization of a prescribed burn last fall, with lessons learned to be used for Edmonton's first prescribed burn planned again for spring of 2025. A prescribed burn is a tool that uses fire to reduce wildfire risk and to restore and maintain ecological integrity. By mimicking natural fire patterns, prescribed burns contribute to long-term health and diversity of forests and grasslands, benefiting both wildlife and the overall ecosystem. These burns are currently focused on grasslands and are carefully planned and managed to minimize risk. Chief Lazenby will finish off this slide.
As you've seen, there's a lot going on in the wildfire space, and I hope that gives you tremendous reassurance. But we also need to point out that the public also plays an important role in keeping our city safe. By using fire-smart strategies, including creating defensible space around homes by clearing away flammable vegetation, using fire-resistant building materials, and developing and practicing evacuation plans. Also expect to see communications on the city's website, as well as in our social media, including information on a fire ban if required. This conversation shows how administration and our partners are preparing, and wildfire is just one example how we are collectively working together to protect the safety of the public. And we know there are other files, such as flooding and infrastructure failure, to name a few. And as we acknowledged at the beginning, we have our colleagues from EPCOR here today to address any questions as needed to for any events where they would be the lead on the response. Next slide, please. One of the main ways we plan for all hazards is through the Municipal Emergency Plan. The Municipal Emergency Plan provides some of the foundational guidance that we need to manage significant emergencies facing our city. We're here today seeking approval of the 2025 updates. These updates are minor housekeeping edits to sections 2.11 and 2.12 that reflect annual meetings for the Emergency Advisory Committee and Emergency Management Agency to ensure compliance with provincial legislation. The Emergency Management Agency is next scheduled to meet in April 2025 and will continue to fulfill its requirements following your guidance today. Next slide, please. With all of this, know that we are prepared, and in the event of an emergency, we're ready to respond. I think you saw some images at the weekend of the type of calibre of first responders that we've got. They never quit, and I'm incredibly proud of all of them. In the case of a wildfire response, we have a response plan and specialised equipment strategically located to access all areas of the river valley, drones to provide surveillance, and all our frontline apparatus have wildland equipment. For large fires, Edmonton Fire and Rescue Services maintains a call-down list of additional support equipment, including heavy machinery and water tankers. We coordinate with provincial emergency management teams and can request additional incident command teams for on-scene support as required. A finalised mutual aid plan with Alberta Wildfire is expected by March 2025, which will define roles, simplify resource requests and facilitate joint training. As always, any Edmontonians evacuated due to an emergency will be supported when asked by the province. We also support people evacuated from other communities. The Emergency Support Response Team have secured a facility that can be activated to support large numbers of evacuees. This space is city-owned and will be available starting April of this year through to 2029, with the capacity to offer a 24/7 reception centre if required. It can also operate with no interruption of city services or programmes in other city-owned facilities. Depending on the magnitude of need, this facility can be supported by up to 1,000 City of Edmonton staff trained as ESERT members to provide support to those in need. Additional staff in specialised roles such as animal control officers, peace officers and communications professionals also support the ESERT during activations. In addition, at the March 5th, 2025 Executive Committee meeting, Administration will present a single source request to re-enter into a contract with the Canadian Red Cross for services to expand ESERT's capacity. This resource augmentation provides assurance that everyone has a safe place to stay in the event of a significant disaster. The Red Cross has a long-standing reputation, expertise in providing emergency shelter and support services during times of crisis, and trained personnel, which makes it a valuable and reliable partner during disasters. By leveraging the expertise, capacity and reliability of the Red Cross, we enhance the service we provide to Edmontonians and Albertans at a time when they need it most. Next slide, please. As your fire chief, I want to leave you with the assurance that you can be confident that if there is an emergency, the city is ready to respond. We have appropriate governance and operational arrangements in place and are actively preparing our teams to be ready for the years ahead. And with that, we would be pleased to take any of your questions. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for the presentation as well as all the hard work and preparatory work that you do to ensure that Edmontonians are in good hands. So thank you for that. Before we go into questions, I want to welcome some students who are visiting us from the Academy at King Edward. Grade 6 and 5, and they are here with their teacher, C. Stevens. Thank you so much for joining us. Your ward counselor is Counselor Jans, right over there, Ward Papasteo. Are you having fun at City Hall? Yeah. Well, I don't think everybody's having equal fun. This much fun, or this much fun? All right, okay. And are you doing your mock council too? You are? Have you selected your mayor yet? You have. Who's your mayor? Can you come down to the podium? Your worship? Come down to the podium. Come on. Don't be shy. You stepped up in this role, so you gotta calm down. Ooh, be careful, be careful. Yeah. So don't be nervous. Don't be shy. Look at this way, look at me. Right? Tell us your name.
Marcus.
Marcus. Okay, Marcus, what are you going to be talking about at your mock council?
It's about bees of bee colonies.
Bee colonies?
Yes, or
You want more of those?
no.
So you want less of those?
Yes.
And that's what you're going to be talking about?
Yes.
Okay, well, let us know what you decide, okay? Thank you so much for joining us. Lovely to see you all. Okay, now questions. Constable Stevenson.
Yes, thank you so much. Really appreciate the presentation and all the work that's gone into it and throughout the year as well. I really appreciate how robustly and comprehensively we're planning for wildfire. I know that's a concern for communities that I represent, especially along the river valley. But another risk that I'm hearing more about is around flooding as well. Recognizing I have some low-lying neighborhoods. So wondering if you could share a little bit about what plans are in place, just assuring the community that we do have contingency plans in place for a river flooding event.
Councillor Stevenson, it's Craig Bonneville from EPCOR here. I can speak to the flood protection projects we have for our water and wastewater treatment plants. As you may know, sitting on utility committee, we have two projects that have been approved in our PBR. One is for flood protection barriers at the Rossdale and E.L. Smith water treatment plants, and those will be complete in early 2027 and late 2026 respectively. And we're undergoing our conceptual planning for a similar type of project at the Gold Bar wastewater treatment plant. And I would pass it along to my colleagues at the city to talk about residential neighborhood protection.
Yeah, so one of the things to understand about our approach to all emergencies, we have an all hazards approach to emergency planning, which represents a shift in emergency management, focusing on broad preparedness strategies that enhance organisational resilience, resource efficiency, coordination efforts, and response capability across diverse threat potentials. We have operational plans depending on who the lead agency is. So obviously in event of fire or rescue, it will be ourselves. If it's something that was more about public disorder, we look to Edmonton Police Services and their operational plans. But fundamentally, when it comes down to it, when you look at emergencies, whether it's a flood, whether it's a tornado, or whether it's a wildfire, you've got people who are displaced. You've got people who need to be accommodated. And then we've got to think about a recovery planning. Those concepts, those broad concepts apply no matter what the type of emergency. So we adopt that mindset. So the lead agency takes over the response in terms of the immediate needs, but from an operational emergency planning perspective, we have the all hazards approach whereby no matter what the type of emergency, we have the plans in place to be able to address the situation as required, and flooding is but one of them. So obviously, in the case of that, we would be the lead agency, rescuing people in need, and then we would look to house those people, accommodate them, feed them, and look to restoration efforts as well. That's the approach that we take for all types of emergencies.
Okay, so that's a helpful overview and helpful to know that the city would sort of be the lead agency in a flooding event. I guess, I think maybe the question at a really basic level is if we see river levels rising, what initiates sandbags going out, around these communities? Do we have those types of operational plans in place?
Where the Emergency Operations Center is actively works with the provincial government and we, with the Alberta Emergency Management Agency, and we make sure that we are tracking when the river is rising. We're alerted. where we pay attention to it and we make sure that it's reevaluated with our government partners, and we decide at that point with our subject matter experts when sandbags need to be deployed or when people need to be evacuated.
Okay, great. So we're coordinating with the provincial body, and just for very basic understanding. So like, who has the sandbags? Is that the Alberta Management Agency would have that, and they would sort of make that call?
Yeah, we have there's 2 field officers from the agency that are responsible for our area, and they're a direct connection to the flood supplies. There are flood supplies that are located in southern Alberta, near Calgary and Aldersyde, and we make arrangements beforehand if necessary to have some pre-positioned and taken into our area.
Great. Thank you so much. That's a really helpful overview. I have a few more questions. Welcome around.
Thank you, Councillor Stevenson. Councillor Tang.
Thank you, Mayor Sohi. Thank you very much for this presentation. 28 major events, 183 days activated. That's like half a year we're in kind of emergency mode, right?
Yes.
That I think is quite staggering to think about, and even though it may not affect maybe most people don't really feel it, but it's reassuring to know that, the team, interagency-wise, are very prepared. How does this compare to the last few years?
I would say 2024 was unique in the extent of the number of, the length of the activation, phase. I think you can look at it 2 ways. Yes, it was demanding, but also it makes us battle hardened, and I know, it sounds like a spin, but it's not. People are practicing on a daily basis what we would need to do in event of the hypothetical situations that we're now talking about, and that stands us in good stead and gives us confidence to know we've got that collaboration and coordination and people know their roles and can put faces to names, quite frankly, because I've seen it in other municipalities where, it is very, very infrequent that the EOCs are activated.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wanted to ask about the full-scale exercise for fall 2025. I feel like this comes up every Emergency Advisory Committee meeting. And I keep hearing about these exercises that also will involve council and all the authorities. Is that what we're talking about for the fall? And does it make sense before or after the election in case we have new?
No, excellent question. So it's not going to be a full exercise involving council at that time in recognition of the election period as well. So we're currently working with a number of our partners, notably the Edmonton Police Service are the lead in that exercise as well. So we're working actively in that as well.
Okay, that's good. I mean, we've had a lot of emergencies, but I keep hearing about this elusive exercise, but I haven't really necessarily seen that. But thank you for that response.
If I may,
Please,
sorry,
yeah.
I'm using up your time.
No,
so we're running at least 3 different exercises, 3 different types of emergency this year, from tabletop through to full-scale exercises. We're also kind of refreshing the Emergency Management Agency, so ELT and others on that agency, because there's been a change over there. So we're looking at that, and then we will also look to kind of exercise with council in the future.
Excellent. For the wildfire cost, there is sort of a remainder, $4 million from the province. Do we have a timeline for when we might expect this? This is from 2023.
Right. I think Councillor Tang, this is Harm from Financial Services talking. So yeah, we're working on the invoice, and we're expecting, I think, Q3 2025 payment.
Okay.
So working on collecting that.
Great. Thank you. I want to go over to Kent. You mentioned sort of the zoning bylaw piece. Wondering if you can elaborate a little bit about that. When you say kind of adjusting, making sure our zoning bylaw is, are you speaking about the landscaping component? I have received some correspondence from residents who are worried about the proximity of the houses to each other and sort of what density would do to our risks.
Yes. So firstly, starting just for awareness, it's not looking at the building code issues. That's regulated through the province. So this is through zoning bylaw. So landscaping would be one of them. setbacks and positioning of structures on property could be one as well, looking for additional setbacks against risk areas. We could as well look at density against escarpments too. So looking at everything in our ability that we regulate through zoning bylaw, and then translating that through to standards too. There may be standards of municipal infrastructure that need to be updated.
And then we have that 1-year review for ZBR coming back. Would you have some updates at that time to share?
The intent is that all of this zoning bylaw work would be done by the end of this year or perhaps Q1 2026.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. I guess just a quick one. Are we planning any new campaigns this year in addition to the one that you highlighted from last year? Education awareness campaign?
Yeah, we're basing our whole strategy on the 7 disciplines that Fire Smart promote. You know, and key to that is educating residents on what they can do to kind of for themselves and also for their neighbourhoods. There's going to be a real push around that, and we would be looking to councillors to assist us in that.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. And Councillor Rice.
Thank you, Mayor Sohi, and thank you for the presentation. And I heard lots of positive feedback for the services or fire services provided, and from many residents in the area I represent. I just want to thank you first for that. I do have a few questions specifically focused on the community side. For other high-level sites, and I have no question. I'm happy for what's presented today. As a community site, there are 2 things here. The first one is about the fire. Because the preparation for 2025 right now, and we have to approve in front of us, and talking about specific in community about the fire smart and the fire bans. And then recently, and even in the south area, there is a new neighborhood, Rutherford, and had the fire. And last year, and in the Delorshet, and we had fire. And then I recall that other one is happening in Kavanagh as well. So my question to you, for those newer neighborhoods, little bit higher density area, do you have a specific plan? Because those data shows to me, and those fire happened in the community unit happening in the little bit higher density area and the newer neighborhood area. Is there any specific action or strategy you are going to take for that? And to address those frequency happened in the newer neighborhoods.
Just to clarify, Councillor, by fires, do you mean wildfires, like grass fires, or are you talking about structure fires?
I specifically talk about structure fires in the neighborhoods, in the community. I'm not talking about wildfire.
Okay, I just wanted to be certain. So, you know, we are very data-driven in our public education activity. We're just in the midst of completing a community risk assessment that's going to drive a lot of the prevention programs that we run. So areas or neighborhoods that are prone to having fires or fires of certain types or behaviors that cause certain fires, we will be kind of running campaigns to try and change or influence behavior for the better. So you will see kind of activity in that regard. I can't specifically say at this stage which neighbourhoods will be getting the most attention. We just have to conclude the community risk assessment. But, you know, we do take, it very seriously about prevention is key, you know, and the sad reality is most fires are preventable. You know, when you look at the common causes of fires, cooking, smoking, use of candles, that's human behaviour. You know, there's an old saying in the fire service, it's not the buildings that start fires, it's the people in them. So we really look to, you know, educate the public as to what they can do to reduce risk in their homes.
I appreciate that answer, and then, but why I'm asking this is, I appreciate you mentioned about is the human behaviors there, because this is about our human's life, and specifically in the community. And then you mentioned about the risk assessment. Is this type of information, and then in terms of the education you're going to provide it to the community, will be available public for public to access those type of information?
Yes, for sure. You know, we have information already on our website and we're constantly reviewing and updating it. One of the things, you know, I think you'll see in your calendars is me meeting with all of you individually to talk about your wards and, you know, the common incidents that occurred in your wards. And we're just finalising a dashboard that will give you real-time access to the data in your communities, which we hope will be an asset for you, and you can be an advocate for us to help educate the community and engage them.
I'm looking forward to that information because this risk assessment will provide some awareness to the public, say which area, and from community perspective, and we need to pay close attention. So thank you for that information. And I would like to, I only have 40 seconds to talk about, let me ask a quick question to the financial piece. If we approve this plan right now, is there any budget attached and to implement those plans, or is that the next step to talk about the budget questions?
So Councillor Rice, I think all the costs that we incur for wildfire recovery, they're fully recoverable from the impacted municipalities through the disaster recovery program. So right now, all these costs have no impact on the tax levy or the taxpayer. Maybe I'll ask others if there's any budget impacts that they're aware of that aren't fully recoverable.
I will come back. My time is up. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Salvador.
Yeah, thank you so much. Really appreciate the presentation and appreciate all the work that's gone into this. You know, seeing some of the numbers around the number of activations, it's quite staggering. And yeah, I guess I'm just thinking about the frequency and prolonged nature of the activations that we're seeing, and the city staff who are pulled off of their regular duties to support the activation. I'm wondering if someone could share, you know, what are we hearing from some of those city staff? How are we adapting our approach just to best support them and their teams during those ongoing and frequent activations?
I think what we have to just kind of stage the answer in the sense of a lot of the reason for the prolonged activation last year was around the EOC being stood up to oversee some of the encampment work that went on. So that was kind of, you know, maybe an outlier in the sense of frequency. Yeah, and the other two were the Wood Buffalo and the Jasper evacuations that were shorter duration. And then we had, you know, intermittent activations around the Oilers playoffs and things like that. It did take its toll, you know, let's just say it as it is. You know, some of the staff that were in there, you know, I'm very proud of them, but, you know, they worked long hours for many, many days, and it took its toll, you know, and I think I was glad for them when the activations came to an end so that they could take a breather and catch up with day-to-day activity. In terms of the reception centres, we do try and rotate the staff through there, both for their benefit and also for their home areas, so that we reduce the impact, you know, in terms of regular operational activity. So we try our best to rotate, but there are a few core people who are the foundation of our programme who last year really probably, you know, we overworked them, quite frankly. So we need to be mindful of that as we're a city that grows. We need to make sure that we're suitably resourced so that we can sustain these activities.
Okay, I appreciate that answer. Thank you for that. I also wanted to ask about public education campaigns, Fire Smart. I know one of the communities in the area that I represent was part of that soft launch. Just wondering if you're receiving good uptake and participation from communities, understanding that there are intentions to expand that.
It's been quiet the last few months just because of the time of year and our focus in other areas. As you know, we've moved under community services, and we're really excited by being part of that area because, you know, the resources that they have, the neighbourhood coordinators and things like that, there's a real collaboration going on across a number of branches where we're really going to roll it out to good effect. It was a soft launch last year, and we appreciated the councillors that got involved in that, but it will be a formal launch this year, and we'll be able to provide you better feedback as to the uptake at that point in time. Sadly, I think the events that we've seen both in Jasper and LA will motivate people, I hope, to participate. You know, so I'm hoping that that's a positive that will come from those tragedies.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I think, yeah, I would agree. opportunities for even closer partnership with community leagues, and some of those community-based organizations will just help make it more accessible for folks who might not otherwise be plugged in. And then just a final question about the dedicated wildfire technician that we brought on for 2024 that we're going to have in 2025. So yeah, my understanding was that this work was primarily focused on vegetation management. And I guess I often get questions from constituents about what kind of proactive work is being done. You know, they'll point to some of the deadfall or underbrush that's in ravines or river valley. So just looking for reassurance that that is happening, and that there's sort of a dedicated person who is leading that work. And that's something that I can share back with neighborhoods.
Yeah, Councillor Salvador, thank you for the question. I can confirm that that is the intent of the wildfire technician. Their job is to help with the vegetation management, making sure that we're prioritizing areas that are maybe potentially of higher risk. Vegetation management typically happens in the winter season, so clearing out the deadfall during winter, fall, and making sure that we're prepared for the season ahead.
Great. And one more quick one, just about the predictive fire risk, and some of the tools that we're going to be looking at there. Is the intention for that to be internal facing, that sort of informs our approach to vegetation management, or is that going to be public facing as well, so that communities can understand their own risk profiles?
Yeah, I'll turn that over to Chris Anderchuk, who's on delegation from SIP, who developed the app.
And I'm out of time, so I'll come back. So have some time to prep that answer.
Great, thank you very much, Councillor Salvador. Councillor Stevenson?
Yeah, thank you. Similar themes to Councillor Salvador, just around the involvement of communities. So, you know, really appreciate the comment that there's an opportunity now that fire services is back in community services. I'm feeling like there could be a real opportunity to coordinate with community leagues and other local groups to really do some of that local, you know, in your neighborhood preparedness, just recognizing that there may be slightly different risks in different neighborhoods and also different, you know, evacuation routes, for example, and just helping people to really understand that in the local context. Is that something that's being explored?
Yes, for sure. I think, you know, in our last update, we talked about how we, the city, had prepared a risk assessment, you know, looking at wildfire, and that will kind of prioritize which neighborhoods we hit first, but we are really looking to engage the community, because we can only do so much. You know, we're all in this together, and we really need the community to play their part too. We'll do everything that we can. You know, the caliber of people that we've got that respond to emergencies, and they'll give everything that they've got, but our public can assist us too.
Yeah, absolutely. And have there been direct conversations with EFCL and the role that they might want to play in some of that?
Not as yet in terms of the Fire Smart rollout, but they're very definitely part of our plan in terms of engagement. I think they're the natural kind of connection point into neighbourhoods. Yeah.
Great. That's wonderful to hear that that's in the works. You know, your presentation referenced the growing diversity of our community. Just wanted to ensure that we do have emergency messaging and materials available in a variety of languages.
Yes, we've really worked hard predominantly around our fire safety materials and kind of translating those into other languages, and we're looking to kind of expand that into all areas of emergency preparedness.
Great. And then just a last question around, recognizing there's some shifting geopolitical realities across the globe. Are we sort of continuing to assess our risk register in the context of those broader changes?
We could conduct every municipality has to conduct a hazard identification risk assessment every year. So you look at kind of, what you predict or what your data is telling you around what are the most likely types of emergencies to occur. So it's an annual thing that we do. Obviously, it's a year in review. I think, Councillor, I saw the article that you were maybe reading around, kind of more extreme emergency situations, and so that would be a newer threat that's on the horizon. But yes, we're constantly assessing and reprioritising our focus. Obviously, we've only got so many resources, and we try and make sure that we get a good spread across all range of emergencies that we can realistically expect to face.
Excellent, excellent. We'll really appreciate that ongoing work and calibration. No further questions from me. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Rice?
Thank you. So, Mr. Rain, and from Finance, and I appreciate you provided a little bit of answer and to my question. I would continue on this. For the financial piece, the 2025 emergency plan, if we approved, so it's my understanding the budget is already included in the 2023-2026 budget, right?
Yes,
If we approve the plan in front of us today.
yeah, the plan that's in the report that's discussed, it doesn't require any further budget asks at this time.
Okay, so it's just what's already embedded and in the existing budget. Okay.
Yeah, I think we're doing it within existing resources and budget.
Okay, wonderful. I appreciate the answer and for the community, local context, and for the fire risk assessment, and I'm looking forward for that type of information come out, and I really hope and the newer high density area and in the cross city and will not have more fires, and then because it's related to people's life and also related to people's properties. Or Edmontonians. So my next question is more related to the APCOR regarding storm pond facility management. So back to 2003 and Edmonton experienced like over 100 years, that's big heavy rain, and that caused some like ponds, and also in the newer developed communities for the high density area and the storm pond and cause the flood issue, and then gets into the people's properties basement. And I think you probably still recall the news story and then residents and reach out. So I just want to know if APCOR after that did any work for 2023 to avoid this type of things happen again, or what's the planning is to improve the capacity for those facilities to really make this safe, not that fraud issue and in the neighborhood.
Yeah, thank you for the question, Councillor Rice. So part of the planning does look at, as you mentioned, capacity of the stormwater management facilities. One other program that we think will have a lot of benefit is a program we call our Smart Ponds Initiative. So that's putting in smart controls, which don't exist today, to be able to better operate and manage the storm ponds, because they do operate as a integrated system. It's not one pond operating independently of the other. So the investment in the smart pond programs is one significant way in which we believe we'll be able to better manage the capacity of the ponds during those high rain event episodes.
Yes, you are right. And it's not only one pond, it's integrated system. And because in the case back to 2023, actually 6 ponds involved and in that area. So I would like to know, and because summer will come in soon, is this smart pond program will be implemented by that time, or we still under the planning stage is part of this 2025 plan?
We are still in the planning and in some cases implementation stages, because it is a system that would be citywide. There will still be some work that has to occur out in the future beyond this year. Specific to the event that you're referring to, I'd probably have to get back to you exactly on which ponds you're referring to, and then we can get back to your office on
in
that.
Callahan area.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to get
around
back to you.
Rutherford, the Heritage Valley area, the 6 ponds integrate, and the capacity, the issue is capacity cannot absorb so much water. So I want to know, did any work has been done in 2024?
I'll have to get back to you specifically on those ponds that you mentioned.
Okay, so
we'll do
happy to follow up offline.
Yes,
okay, thank you very much. That's all my questions.
Great, thank you very much. Councillor Salvador?
Thank you. Just wanted to come back for the answer around some of the predictive modeling and predictive fire risk work that we're doing.
Do we have Chris online?
Absolutely. That's a great question, Councillor. I just want to start by saying how humbled we are to be supporting this work in the vision of Chief Lazenby. EmberWise is a built-in Edmonton solution that was developed here internally with internal staff, and its intention is to predict fire risk We do that by joining 3 different sets of data. The first is weather. The second is fire load. So what is the material that's flammable? And the third and most unique addition is human behavior or public safety data. And we're drawing on a number of different sources. This is the first that a city has done this, combining these 3 different sources. And specifically to your question, because of the sensitivity around the public safety data, it will just be internal facing.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for that answer. And yeah, I think another example of Edmonton leading the way when it comes to these types of data-driven solutions.
Thank you.
Councillor Salvador, do you want to put the motion on the
Yeah,
floor?
and I'll move the motion if now's the appropriate time.
Yeah, go ahead.
Great. So I'll move that the municipal emergency plan 2025, as set out in attachment 1 of the February 19th, 2025 Community Services Report, CS 02834, be approved.
Thank you very much. I just have a couple of remaining questions. I was curious about the NHL playoff games. I may have gotten this answer at some point, but it would be helpful to just state it here for clarity. In those situations, does OEG compensate or cost share the activation that goes into those?
No, I don't believe so.
Can you just explain why? Because typically for major events, event organizers do contribute, or is this seeing sort of in its own category?
I don't know if Roger Jeffney's on the line, but we might be able to follow up by memo with you. But we do, as part of our civic events attraction work with various organizers, whenever we set up the EOC or have our emergency team for major event command, there is some funding that does come back. But I'll get those details to you in a memo if that helps.
Okay, but I mean, I don't expect it to be full recovery because obviously the lots spill onto city streets. But there is a bit of that major event component, so I was curious sort of how much is recovered. But thank you for the follow-up. And then I guess maybe a question more for Mr. Robar at the sort of citywide level. Climate is a huge risk that gets identified year after year, whether at this committee or in audit. We do a lot around prevention, especially on the awareness side. But I also feel like there has been a narrative that's pushing to re-examine, let's say, cities to climate resilience policy. For, let's say, cost saving on cities' capital project. I've been hearing that more and more. I guess, how do you feel about that? Are you worried? Because I am, when disasters, especially climate-related disasters, cost billions of dollars in damage across the board, not just affecting our city. And, yet there is kind of this push to do less on just the city side. Do you hear those things? I don't know, like curious on some thoughts from you.
I think all cities right now are wrestling with the climate file and the cost of the investment that creates. I think it's clear that climate is impacting our city. I've been here for 9 years now, and when I first got here, we maybe had one wildfire in a summer, and we've spent summers covered in smoke. So in most recent years, so I think it's clear that climate is changing the landscape in which the city operates, and we have to think about these things more. You mentioned earlier about staff that we train and dedicate towards this work. They're doing more of it in the summer times, which takes them off their regular work, and we're thinking about things of what does it mean to have a permanently staffed emergency management team that can do that work, and those are things that we have to start thinking about now. So yeah, I mean, I think climate is a thing, and we're seeing it all around us in the environment that we have today, and certainly have to think about that in the future. And I'll leave that to council to debate how much investment is required to kind of meet the objectives that we're looking to do. But it's clear to me that these changes in temperatures and even the snow and ice program, we have to start thinking about how we're dealing with ice more now than we have ever done before. These are things that are impacting the way we operate and the expenses that we spend as a city. So yeah. We're spending those dollars everywhere across the city, and I expect that will continue.
Great, thank you for that. I appreciate it. And Speaking of costs, I guess I'm just curious if we access any of the, say, the federal disaster mitigation fund. I feel like some of the EPCOR projects have, but like as a city, do we have anything like that? Or I'm thinking about like, say, the Green Municipal Fund, things that will kind of prevention really upstream as a city. Are we accessing any of those funds to help offset some of the cost?
I think our intergovernmental team is always actively surveying all of the different funds that are available that we can leverage other orders of government.
Okay. Yeah, but perhaps that's an offline conversation then, looking forward to see how we can explore more of those opportunities, because I don't think it's something city alone can take on. Okay, I think that is it for me. I will go to Councillor Rutherford.
Thanks. I didn't have a lot of questions. The report was very comprehensive, but I just want to piggyback off of Councillor Tang's line of questioning, and I'm actually going to flip it over to EPCOR because I think, we often get criticized as a city for, some of these investments we're making in climate or especially in resiliency, but we know that there's, for every dollar invested in climate resiliency, it can actually save like almost up to, I think, $10 if there is a disaster and the cost of that disaster. And EPCOR as a private entity is also doing that, right? I'm thinking about the Lauderdale Flood Mitigation Project and other dry pond projects that you have going on around the city. So I wanted to get your perspective from like a business side of things, why investing in that climate resiliency is important.
Thanks for the question, Councillor. So as Councillor Tang noted, we were able to, in collaboration with the city, access DMAF funding, specifically to protect the water and wastewater treatment plants, as well as implementation of the Smart Pond programs, as well as the dry ponds. So we identified those as critical assets to protect drinking water plant, particularly from a public health point of view, as well as the pond management and the dry ponds to protect homes from flooding. And you're right, there is certainly a benefit, and it closes a gap, if you will, on what's provided to customers from an insurance perspective and that sort of thing. So we think it is a smart investment to make for our customers.
So even customers can save money on their insurance potentially if there's stronger, is that what I'm hearing, or did I misunderstand that?
So there is some gaps in coverage depending on the type of event. And so while, I think my colleague Susan Ansell has worked a lot with the Insurance Bureau of Canada and to collaborate as an industry with them to determine what we should be doing as the utility provider versus what insurers or potentially other orders.
But so if an insurer is not covering a certain event, a catastrophic event, the homeowners would be on the hook for whatever damage. So if we are putting in place mitigation measures that take that 100-year flood and mitigate the impact, it could help save them costs on their housing.
Certainly from that perspective. From the perspective of our critical infrastructure like a water treatment plant, while we do have some insurance coverage, you can appreciate that it's critical for us to continue to provide.
You need to be able to provide treated water.
Which is why we made the decision to implement physical protections to those assets.
Yeah, very, very interesting. And we are seeing, like I know that Mr. Robar talked about like more wildfire events, but we're also seeing like a 1 in 100 year flood is not happening just in 100 years anymore. Like it's becoming more, like what kind of things are we seeing around flooding and drought?
So we always take the perspective that whether you call it a 1 in 100 or a 1 in 500 year flood could happen 2 years in a row. And so we do have, the province does a lot of flood modeling. We do our own flood modeling to do our best to predict what types of events we need to protect against. We take a risk approach, so we don't just blindly pick a number, say we're going to protect a 1 in 100. We look at what those types of events will have an impact to critical infrastructure that we have, and through physical protection or even operational, we look at the best way and most effective way to protect it from those types of events. In terms of things like urban wildfires and so on, or other means of adapting to a changing climate. We collaborate with the city, with Kent, with emergency services to be able to protect that critical infrastructure.
Awesome. And then just my last question to city operations, because again, we talk a lot about like the tax levy and cost to taxpayers, and a lot of things I think people don't see. What kind of things does city ops do in terms of mitigation? So I'm like thinking about like tree coverage, those kind of things. Is there anything at a high level quickly you could speak to?
Yeah, we work to actively maintain our tree canopy. We're doing vegetation management, diversification of species. We're tied into the climate action as well, but making sure that we have adequate coverage from a tree canopy to lessen heat within our neighborhoods. The vegetation management is a really important piece, which ties into the conversation we had this morning, and diversification of species to maintain and ensure that those species survive.
So it's a diversity in terms of like Dutch elm.
Sure.
We don't want to plant all elm trees.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Great, we have a motion on the table. Anyone to speak? Okay, I will be very brief. Just want to appreciate the, absolutely support the motion. We need to be prepared for 2025. I think about that number, 180 days, half a year. We're in this kind of activation mode, and that's wild. To see kind of how far we've come. As council members, we often are in conversations with our colleagues from other cities, towns, villages. In these conversations, emergency management has become every year dominating more and more of the conversation about how cities are facing when disasters strike. Just came back from the Sustainable Communities conference where this was a huge topic, and cities around the country are thinking very upstream prevention measures, and mitigation and adaptation was a huge piece. And for me, it had kind of triggered for me about, well, how can we access more of those opportunities so that we can as a city not just be ready for another year of potentially many activations, but also do more on the upstream side. I just want to thank all of you and all your staff members who are on the front line doing this work every day. Not quite the same thing, but I did spend a full day with the firefighters at Station 27 just before the break, and it gives me a little bit glimpse of kind of the readiness that our teams have, their professionalism when it comes to tackling emergency situations, and hearing about some of the interagency collaborations that you all do, interdepartmental. It's really good to see kind of the cross collaboration that's happening at the city. Gives me a lot of confidence for 2025. And that's it. Thank you for the presentation today and the discussion. Sorry, Councillor Rice.
Thank you, and my colleague, Councillor Tan, said really well. So I will be very quick, and then I do have confidence on our city's fire services and also APCO's work and to how to address the emergency needs. So this plan, and strongly supports, and I think it's really important for our city to have the plan in place and also to have the implementation actions follow up from like prevention perspective, not only intervention perspective. I think that is most important, and for us to have those type of plan and actions and in place. So I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone who work on this plan, and including our frontline and the services provider and firefighters, and then thank all the work have been doing, and then also demonstrate our city actually from last year's all those activities, all those responses our city provided, and our cities really care about the people and they care about the community. So we do our best and then to help people, not only for Edmontonians and actually across Albertas. So I want to take this opportunity to thank all the great work on our city manager and the city operations and for working together. And we all working together and to support our city and support Edmontonians, support the communities. But I do want to emphasize the 2 points through my questions about the local contacts in the communities, how we could support and improve the community safety. From the structure, that is our chief uses that term, and structure fires, and then even though this is human behaviors, but the education, and then to improve that public awareness. And I think that is already included in this plan. And we have Fire Smart. I heard we have smart pond programs and dry ponds programs, and to really support community to avoid any more events happening, and in terms of fires, in terms of floodings, and as I'm looking forward to that integrated system, and then to increase the capacity to reduce any events and for flooding and happening in the community. I know sometimes it's difficult because it's a nature disaster, and sometimes it's difficult, but at least we could, those plans could help us to prepare in advance for today and right for today and for the future. So thank you all and for your great work.
Great, thank you very much. Councillor Salvador to close.
Yeah, thank you so much. Just wanted to take a moment to thank our emergency management team for their thorough work in ensuring that we're prepared for emergency situations. The discussion today has really reinforced my confidence in the city's ability to respond effectively during activations. It was really reassuring to hear about the proactive measures that are in place, from wildfire risk management to some of the predictive risk assessments we're doing, to flood mitigation and training. Very pleased to know that we're going to be expanding some of our public education campaigns to further mitigate risks and support preparedness. What today's conversation has also highlighted for me is it's very clear that climate change is driving more frequent and severe emergencies. Again, this speaks to the need for not only strong emergency preparedness, but also for sustained attention to climate action. It has me thinking about how critical it is to embed a climate lens across all aspects of our organization, not just in emergency response, but in infrastructure planning and land use, budgeting, and our service delivery. Because we know that if we don't integrate climate resilience into decisions that we make today, that we will face greater costs and challenges down the road. So yeah, once again, as echoed by my colleagues, I really appreciate the ongoing efforts to strengthen our preparedness and protect our communities. And a big thank you to all the city staff who are involved in this vital work. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. So please vote. I am yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor Sohi. Thank you, Councillor Rutherford.
Yes.
Thank you, Councillor Jans. We have all the votes.
Display the votes, please. That is carried. We don't have any private reports, but before we adjourn, we have some guests visiting us today. They're the second group from the Academy of King Edward, grade 6 class, and they are here with the teacher, Mrs. Musterman? I got it right? Because it's written in very small font, so yeah. I'm old, can't read that small font. What Papa's Deo? Constance Jans is obviously your ward counselor. How are you, kids? Are you having fun? How much fun are you having? This much fun? This much fun? Huh? Oh, bigger as the room. Wow, that is a lot of fun. We just finished talking about how our city is preparing in the event of a wildfire, in the event of a flood, in the event of extreme cold temperature and heat waves that we are getting in our city, which is becoming a regular occurrence because of climate change. So we were just finished discussing about what our administration and folks who are sitting in front of us do in order to proactively prepare to respond to those emergencies, as well as when something happens in our region or surrounding communities, then we set up a welcome center for people who are evacuated from those communities. They come to Edmonton, and we provide them all the support, and our city activates the activation center and the welcome center, and our city staff stops that. So with that, so thank you so much for joining us. Have you, there's also a special guest in that crowd, right? But before I do that, I want to, have you selected your, are you doing a mock council? You are. And oh, you did already. Who was your mayor? Mayor, you want to come up to the podium? Well, tell us your name. Come to the podium. Come to the podium. Right.
Hello, my name is Dylan.
Dylan, what were you discussing, Dylan?
About if we should have bees in our if all citizens of Edmonton should have bees in their backyards.
If they should have bees in their backyard, and what was your decision?
Yes.
You would. Maybe I'll ask our fire folks, is there any hazard for having bees in the backyard? Should they be prepared? Any advice? How should they prepare for a beehive in their backyard?
Well, I agree with their decision. I think they're very wise at such a young age.
Uh-huh. Well, thank you so much for joining us. So nice to see you. And Councillor Rutherford?
Yes?
You want to say a few words to a special guest? Right?
I don't know if he would appreciate that. My son is also in this class, so it's his class, so he's here with me and gets to see his mom in action. So I'm excited to meet with you guys a little bit later today over lunch and with all of the students. So I know your ward counselor is Counselor Jans. He does a great job representing you, but I get the special privilege of meeting with you today, and I'm excited. Thank you.
Nice to see you. With that, our meeting is concluded and we are adjourned. Okay. Thank you, everyone.